I finally have time to film, and go figure, the cat's gonna be playing with one of those noisy balls in the background for the whole video. Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, welcome, glad you're here, hope you stay. In today's video, I'm going to be walking you through my focus products of 2021. I don't really want to call it a project pan because I don't want to feel boxed into finishing these products or being forced to use these products if I'm just really not feeling it. I have them separated out so that I can use them easier. They're not buried, they are back in rotation. A few of these have fallen behind just because new things come in and the old things get pushed to the back. So I did try to go through what I have and pull out neglected or older products that maybe I didn't use enough when I first got them, or just things that I kind of forgot about that the newer, younger models pushed the older ones out of the way, kind of thing. I have a few ringers in here that are already close to pan that I threw in just to give myself a boost of confidence as I'm working my way through these products. I am hoping to do a weekly video series of a Shop My Stash, so a lot of these products that you see here will make their way into those videos as I try these products in new ways. And I think that is probably a long enough intro, and I'm going to get into showing you what products I picked to focus on this year in 2021. I'm going to go through in order of how I would apply these products to my face, starting with primer. I have three primers that I want to focus on. The first is the MAC Strobe Cream in the shade Pink Light. I've had this the longest out of everything I have in my collection. I don't have too much left in here. I use this maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. I bought this because everyone seems to love it. I haven't found this to be something that I notice is missing from my routine when I'm not using this, and I don't feel like it makes that big of a difference when I am using it. So I definitely am not sold on recommending it or repurchasing once it's gone, but I do want to finish it up, so that's why it is in here. Next is the Rare Beauty Illuminating Primer. It has a much longer name than what I'm calling it, but it is the mini size of the Rare Beauty Primer. If you saw my review of this, I was not a fan of it really at all, and it's something that I'm just going to have to work through. It's not a bad product, but it's definitely not up there with its similar products that I have in my collection, so it always gets pushed aside. There's not too much in here, so I don't see it being a problem to finish up. The third product is the Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream, but this is not quite that. I had a very minimal amount of the Dewy Skin Cream left in here, and I ended up mixing a little bit of the First Aid Beauty Hydrating Primer and the Becca First Light Priming Filter, something like that, when I was just about out of those two things. So this is just a concoction of the three of them. It works really well. I just really want to finish this up so that I can get into more things. In the same vein of primers, I just want to mention the the Banana Bright Eye Cream. I have the mini size. I use this to prep my under eyes when I'm putting concealer on, so I'm going to add that in with the primer category. Next, I have three foundations to talk about, and the first one is the bareMinerals Complexion Rescue Hydrating Foundation Stick something SPF 25. It's some kind of super crazy long name. I used to really love this foundation, and I went through a lot of it since I've had it, but it's really been in my collection for a pretty long time at this point, and there's still a lot left when I start rolling it up. I don't want to roll it up too far because I don't want it to fall out of the casing, but I do think that if I put my mind to it, I could get through this foundation pretty quickly, and since it's winter, I match this really well. Yeah, this technically this expires February of this year, so I really have to get a move on using this foundation. The next foundation that I want to focus on using up is the Milk Makeup Sunshine Skin Tint. This is the original formula. At the time that I'm filming this, they just announced that they are putting out a reformulated version of this, which I will be picking up because I'm really interested to see what the differences are between them. But this is just one that, again, I can see that I've made a good dent in already. So it seems like a great place to start in finishing up a foundation. And there's a smaller amount in this container than there is in regular foundation, so it will be quicker to get through. The last foundation that I'm going to talk about is the Cairo Weis Cream Foundation, which I don't even think I've ever mentioned that I own. I have hit pan on it. There's a considerable chunk of foundation that I've gone through, but I do not like this foundation, and I am fighting my way through it. And the things I don't like about this foundation would take a whole video in and of itself. But this is one that I am, what do they call? I'm hate panning. I'm hate panning my way through the Cairo Weis foundation, and I cannot wait to be done with it. So fingers crossed that goes smoothly, because I'm tired of looking at it, frankly. I have one face powder, which is the Marc Jacobs Finished Line Perfecting Coconut Setting Powder. I almost never reach for this one. I like it to set my face. I don't like it on my under eye. It kind of has a yellow tint to it, so I do think that it makes my foundation a slightly different shade, which I'm not a huge fan of. So I primarily use this to just set like the bottom half of my face and my forehead most times, and I try to avoid using it underneath my eyes. So I'll be making my way through that powder. I've got two face palettes that I want to get through. I will mention that I don't support this brand any longer, and I'm actually really disappointed that I bought this product to begin with. This is the RMS Living Luminizer Glow Quad, and I have tried to get through this. I don't really like any of the products, but it's small, and I figure I can get maybe some use out of this palette, but I don't support the brand any longer, so I feel a little bit iffy on whether or not I should even be mentioning that I have this in my focus products or not, but it is in here. I just want to get that out there that I don't promote this brand. I'm not super sold on a lot of the things that Rosemary has put out there, but I do own this product, so I do want to get some use out of it if I can find a way to get use out of it. The second palette that I'm focusing on finishing up this year is the Hourglass Illume Sheer Trio in the shade Sunset, which actually is the only color that they offer, but this is the original formula, and I have such a story behind this palette. But anyway, I want to finish this up. I'm very close to hitting pan on the highlighter and on the bronzer shade. The blush shade is not quite my shade, so I don't use that as often as I use the other two, but I have the Salt New York palette that I custom made, and I gravitate towards that one a lot more. I don't plan on repurchasing the reformulated vegan version of this. I don't know if they've released the new one yet, or if they just announced they're releasing the new one. Either way, I don't plan on picking that one up, and I would like to get this finished and make way for something new. I have one bronzer that I want to focus on hitting pan on or finishing up, and that is the Fenty Beauty Sun Stalker Into Sun bronzer. I have had this for a long time. I've had this for going on 2 years. Again, it's like a hate pan. I've made no secret on my Instagram about how much I do not enjoy this bronzer, and I keep trying. I have tried very hard. I've got 2 weird hard pan spots in the bronzer now, but so many YouTubers that I follow love this bronzer, so I keep trying to get myself into it. And I know at this point I really should just stop, especially since I have no idea what's going on there. For the amount of times that I've used this and tried to make my way through it, I can't believe I haven't hit pan on it yet, and it's obnoxious, and it's like my life goal right now to just hit pan on this so I can feel good about getting rid of it. I can't even pass this on to anyone because I just can't. I hate the formula of this. I'm not a big fan of the color, and I really should not waste any more time on it, but it's like my Mount Everest. I have to hit pan on it so I can be happy to move on. That's really dramatic, I know, but I need to fulfill the goal of hitting pan on this product. I have 2 blushes, well, 2 shades. I have 2 shades of a blush that I would like to get through, at least one of them, and that is the Glossier Cloud Paint. I know I will probably hear about this but I think that these are really overhyped, or maybe I'm just using them wrong. I don't know. I love my other Glossier products. I bought the cloud paints because everyone loves them and they rave about them and they're so amazing, and really I'm not sure that I agree. Maybe it's user error and I'm not using them the way that they're meant to be used. Everyone loves them. I just am not super sold on them. I find that they rub off really easily. Pretty much as soon as I apply the color, it's gone, and it doesn't matter how many layers I build up, it's always just seems to fade a lot faster than any of my other blushes. So I am going to try and use at least one of these up so that I can feel good about the purchase, but I don't see myself repurchasing the cloud paints once they're gone. I have two highlighters. The first one is the Ilia Liquid Light Serum Highlighter in the shade Nova. I do have the full size of this. My mom gave it to me, but I do have the full size in the new packaging of this one, and this one's probably about half gone. I like to mix this in with my primer or before I use my foundation, but this is just another ringer that I threw in because it's so close to being empty that I know it'll be easy to use up. The next one is the Rare Beauty Liquid Luminizer in the shade Enlighten. This one I buried for a while because I just don't like it. I really was not a fan of the formula when I first reviewed it. I've tried since then to make it work, and I still have the same problems over and over again. I see other YouTubers use this product and it seems to work really well for them. I'm not sure what they're doing differently than I'm doing, but it just really does not work for me, but I want to keep trying it. I don't see this being a product that I would recommend to anyone. It's not something that I would repurchase, and it's not something that I would recommend to you guys to try out. I have two eyeliners and an eye primer to mention. So the first is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eye Primer base. I'm not sure if this is a full size or if this is a mini size. I got this as a free gift from Ulta. I don't support Anastasia Beverly Hills any longer. So again, I'm a little torn about including this in my Project Pan Focus Products thing, but it is in there. It's not my favorite eye base, and even when I have used it in the past, it's not very impressive, and it does not do a better job than the Painterly Paint Pot, but I would like to try and get some use out of it. And the two eyeliners are the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in the shade 0, and the Marc Jacobs Highliner Gel Crayon in the shade Black. They're both black eyeliners. They're both mini gift with purchases. They're not my favorite formulas, so I almost never reach for them over the ones that I do actually enjoy, which is why they are in the Focus products, so that I actually use them, and they're minis, so it won't be that hard to use up. The last category that I'm going to talk about are lips, and both of these items that I'm going to talk about are cheat items. I have the Bite Beauty Agave Lip Mask, which is the discontinued non-vegan version. I have literally the tiniest, smallest amount possible left. This is one of my ringer products that I know I'm going to get through pretty quickly. I wanted to throw that in there. And then the second one is the Kosas Wet Lip Oil in the shade Jellyfish. I already have a backup full size of this one because this is my favorite lip gloss and I cannot be without it. I did pull the stopper out of this earlier today to make sure I can get as much out of it as I possibly can, because like I said, this is my favorite lip gloss in the history of lip glosses. I'm going to make my way through some other lip glosses before I open my backup of this one, but I do have it in case there's an emergency and I need it for God knows what reason one needs an emergency lip gloss for, but it's there if I need it. Additionally to what I've already mentioned, I do have a small jar of mini primers. The Makeup Forever, Smashbox, Becca, Laura Mercier, Bobbi Brown, and then I've got a mini Hourglass Veil primer over here. I would like to make my way through some of these minis just because minis, again, are pretty easy to get through, but they also take up a little bit of space that I would like to open up to other things. Lastly, I want to mention the entire category of lip liners. I have a little jar of lip liners, and these are, I think, all of my lip liners. I may have a few in colors that weren't relevant to the shades that I pulled for like my fall winter lip colors, but for the most part, I think these are all of my lip liners that I have. and they're pretty much all just shades of nude beige. Some are slightly less nude, but they're probably all within like the nude beige category anyway. I always forget to use lip liner. I usually am only wearing lip balm or maybe a lip gloss on a regular basis just because I'm a stay-at-home mom in the middle of a pandemic. I don't really need lipstick. I always put some kind of face on, or I normally put some kind of face on, but my lips I always neglect just because if I'm going to be running in and out of the house for some reason, I put a mask on and then it rubs off on the mask or something. As a whole, I would like to work through some of the lip liners in my collection. I do think that I'll be able to make my way through at least some of them. So fingers crossed it goes well. I know that I didn't include every category. I make my way through a lot of the other categories that I didn't mention. Brows, eyeliners, and mascara I work through pretty quickly. I have my favorites that I just turn to pretty much every time I'm doing my makeup, or every time I'm repurchasing those products. I tend to just rebuy the same ones just because I know that those work really well for me. Everything else I pretty much just rotate through really frequently. I'll add products as necessary if I need to, but right now I think this is a really great place to start with the products that I really want to use up throughout the year. I hope you enjoyed taking a tour of my focus products of 2021. Definitely let me know down below if you're doing a project pan or if you've got some focus products that you're trying to use up. I would love to hear that as well. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you again soon in my next video.